What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Active Self-Protection Extra. I am Christopher Bean with Tactical Advantage, and today we're going to talk about some pretty interesting inert pistols and training aids that I've got from Grip Keeper.
Download the ASP Unlimited app for all the content you love from Active Self-Protection and more with no interference from YouTube. No ads, no age gates, exclusive videos, seminars, classes, and more on iOS, Android, Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, and Android TV. Hit the link in the description or download ASP Unlimited from your app store today.
Today I want to talk about some inert training pistols that I've had for about a month or so that I got from a gentleman named Ross with Grip Keeper to just kind of test. I've seen and heard some really good things from some people I trust about his products, so I wanted to kind of check them out because one of them especially is fairly innovative and I found pretty interesting. And I also got a couple other like trainers from him to try and kind of test out. You've seen a couple of them or one in particular in several videos I've done that I absolutely chef's kiss love. But Ross from Grip Keeper is an M, I believe, a masterclass shooter in USPSA, and he started creating training aids that are actually quite useful in many different kind of platforms. So I got a couple products from him in an HK pattern, as you can see here. And this is the first one, and this one's just set up as an inert kind of pistol. And if you're serious about training, for sure helpful. If you're an instructor, absolute necessity to have some kind of inert training pistols for certain demonstrations, things like that. And some of his inerts I'm finding to be quite interesting. So they appear to be 3D printed to me, but they're dense and they feel pretty good. So this is the first one. So you have an actuating trigger. But what I like about this one, if you see right there, he's got a couple magnets inset into this, and we've got a little Holosun red dot, and those magnets just allow you to pop a red dot on if you were trying to demonstrate or show somebody something. So you can have a red dot that you can easily remove, which is really cool. So versus my regular HK-VP9 tactical, I have a little bit more, exposure on the barrel, but like from a frame fit, grip panel fit, all of those things, sights, it's 1-to-1. So it's actually quite useful. Fit and holster's fine, no problem. The rail is actually correct. So I can run my TLR1, my light, and everything works well there. So I can actually draw and have it work in my holster, no issues, no weirdness. And that's kind of what happens sometimes with inert pistols, is they don't fit quite right. These even have like as John loves, the paddle. So it's actually kind of a 1-to-1 kind of setup. All the controls are right and where they are. So if I use like index points, things like that, it just feels correct. So this is the first one, absolutely cool for an inert setup. The good thing about this from an instructor standpoint, if I needed to put someone on an inert pistol and they were shooting irons, well, simply take it off. No screws, no tools needed. And if they run a dot, simply put it on. You know, it's not like monstrous, but it works. You know, I could draw with that and not have an issue. It's not going to fly off. So this is the first one, which I like. The one you guys have seen is this one. And this one right now is about my favorite. So in blue, so it's a blue gun, if you guys have heard that, blue gun. This one actually has kind of screws to hold the optic on. And the thing I love about this one is it has a laser pre-built into the bore, or what would be the bore. And it actuates very, very quickly. So I can, use this for like bill drills, things like that, and dry fire, and actually get feedback. For me, using this with students to get feedback is very, very, very cool. Red dot mountable, same thing as the other one. So they just are a good representation of what it is, and you can get a ton of feedback from this. So very much like this one. This one I like. So the last one, which I think is really interesting, but I've done about the least amount of work on, and I think this is kind of their flagship product, is the grip keeper itself. And basically what you see here is on the front strap of the gun, you've got a series of springs embedded into the grip. And this actually addresses something, I think, that's pretty prolific in dry fire, or people that are really getting into dry fire, that you need to be careful of. So a lot of times what happens with dry fire, and one potentially detrimental aspect of dry fire, is not really inputting the correct amount of grip when you're actually testing, training, and practicing. We see that a lot with people that really can't live fire, but are pretty religious about dry fire. Is the first thing we have to attack is applying the correct grip pressures to the gun, because you're so used to not having that recoil impulse. None of that is a bad thing, but having a tool that's available that provides you with the ability to know you're inputting proper grip pressures, and over time build up your ability to apply more if you can. So with these, I think there's 3 setups: strength setups, resistance setups is probably the best word. I think there's like a 30 pound, a 60 pound, and then like a monster one. This is medium at 60 pounds. And 60 pounds for me, if you watch my grip videos, is about what I put into the gun, give or take, non-scientifically. But really, with your strong hand, you can see like applying that. So you're actually activating muscles in your arms, things like that. So you're inducing the resistance that you would really put into the gun during live fire, to ensure that when you go to live fire, you're not just wishy-washy, you're putting in what you can put in, and potential to develop it over time, which is pretty friggin' interesting to me. So with this one, what I found when I first started using it, again, 60 pounds is about on the high end for me. I'm not a big, strong dude, you know? But getting that grip closed, and then applying my support hand and making sure the gun is stable, and actuating the trigger without moving it while inputting that grip pressure, is pretty interesting. It's teaching me things about what finger's really doing what. That it's a little bit more difficult to trace that down in live fire because you have the recoil impulse. So in live fire, I'm really only watching dot behavior. But with this, I can kind of feel a little bit more about what are my muscles doing that influence that dot behavior. So these are kind of interesting. They are not overly expensive, but I think quite useful if you're struggling with weight of grip or application of the correct amount of pressures, or you're fairly inconsistent with your application of pressure. This is a pretty cool tool for that. So again, I've had these for about a month. I like them. I very much like the onboard laser unit with the optic. That's just a great teaching aid. That's staying with me. I love that thing. This one, I've got to put some more work in and just understand how I can leverage this a little better, but it's an absolutely interesting product. So with that said, these guys are not a channel sponsor. I'm just bringing things that I find interesting and that I would potentially utilize in my practice or my work as an instructor, and show it to you guys. You know, there's no monetary thing here. It's just, I think it's cool. So with that, these guys are interesting. I can't tell you their website, but if you search Grip Keeper, you're probably gonna find them. I would go take a look. They make a pretty interesting product, and the guy's a shooter, and I think some thought was put into this. So good stuff, man. I will see you guys next time. Appreciate it very much.